In the year of 2014, though, this is when Braxton Miller's life, it would change big time.
On the edge, Braxton Miller's loose spin.
Stop it right there. If you're a college football fan, even to the slightest, you remember this play. This man you're looking at right here, Braxton Miller, performed the nastiest, not one of, but the nastiest spin moves I've ever seen in my life. What was so good about it is not only was it appealing to the eyes, it was aesthetically pleasing to watch, it's the fact that he had to perform that exact move. I know you can't exactly tell from this play, but if you remember like myself, he had a guy behind him and two in front of him, and he had to split the gap. And he did just that. The rest was history. That spin move actually propelled him forward, and he had an easy walk-in touchdown. How about we go to this frame, though, and this is exactly what I was talking about. He had two in front of him, one behind him. I guess you could argue and say, well, he could have juked him out, but the spin move was just so much better. Anyways, though, getting back on track here, this guy that has a clean shot at him, and it looks like he's about to hit him in the shoulder, well, take a look at this next frame. This goofy goober not only completely whiffed on him, which is embarrassing in its own right, but he tumbled out of bounds. I'm sorry, I can't get over that even till this day. It looks like something a cartoon character would do. But whoa, hold on. I know we're having a good time reminiscing on this play and talking about it, but let's get back on track here with Braxton Miller. He didn't just have one good play in that ballgame against Virginia Tech in the season opener, he had an overall outstanding performance. He finished the game with 5 carries for 61 yards and 1 touchdown, but he also had 3 catches. He was the leading receiver in that ballgame for 79 yards and a touchdown. To give you some more context here, Braxton Miller was a quarterback for Ohio State throughout dang near his entire career. This was one of his very first games playing as a wide receiver. So everybody's watching this Virginia Tech game going, dang, if he's doing this and he's not even too familiar and comfortable with the position, who knows how good he'll eventually become. But weirdly enough, after that Virginia Tech game, he somewhat disappeared. The hype and attention that was surrounding Braxton Miller, it dwindled quickly. But why? It's not because he wasn't good enough, right? The guy was an all-around athlete. It didn't matter what position he played, he was going to thrive and succeed at it, and we saw that. The 2 questions everybody's been asking is, number 1, why didn't things work out? And number 2, where did he go? Because nobody knows where he's at or what he's doing currently. Many out there thought he'd have a very successful career in the NFL. Obviously, that didn't happen, and there's some reasons for that. Reasons we'll get into later in this video, so you might want to stick around. There's many, and I mean many more questions people have been asking about this guy even till this day. But however, it all circles back to the one, and I mean the one big question we're going to try to get to the bottom of in today's video. What really happened to Braxton Miller? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you are having a great day. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And major shout out to Brady for recommending this video. You can thank him in the comment section for requesting this video. I saw his comment. I said, hey, sounds like a good idea to me. Got to work, and here we are. Also, too, shout out to It's Monster. Didn't request anything, just said, what's up, Matt? So, yeah, what's going on, my brother? Hope you're having a good day. Here's the last comment I'm going to read off. I'm a 48-year-old black woman who loves sports, and when I ran across you, you were manifest 100K. To see you pushing almost 350 is wild. I'm proud to say I'm a day one fan, and I'm proud of you, young man. My husband and son subscribed because I told them about you. Keep up the great work. When I read that comment, it meant a lot to me, so I wanted to express my gratitude in this video to you, and thank you for all the support over the many years. Can't thank you enough, and each and every single one of you that watches the videos, you make the channel what it is. I firmly believe we got one of the greatest college football communities out there in the entire world. We're just a bunch of guys and girls that like talking about sports. Looking at some other comments here, proud Pennsylvanian man said, Matt be having Bama nuts in his mouth always. All right, buddy. Is this what we're doing? We just got done reading off some nice comments, and then we're back to the crazy Matt B hashtag whatever. I mean, what is this? And what's crazy about it is you put Bama in mouth in all caps. I've seen a lot of wild hashtags on our channel over the years, but this takes the cake for the longest and weirdest one yet. I would love to read off more of your guys' comments, but we got a video to make. There's somebody right now run to the comment section and say, Matt, would you just shut the crap up, quit yapping, and get into the video? And I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Calm down. We're getting to it. Strap in, buckle up, get your snack, get your popcorn, get your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing. But all right, Matt, blah, shut the crap up, without further ado. Let's get into it. Woo! Man, oh man, we got good old Braxton Miller. And come on, man. You already know, to get into his story, we got to throw it all the way back to where things started. Mr. Braxton Miller played his high school football in the state of Ohio for Wayne High School. He was a dual threat quarterback for them and a pretty good one at that. He was a 5-star recruit and had an overall scout grade of 98. Was you pleased with that information? I shouldn't have to sit up here and hype him up because this right here, it does it for him. He was regarded as the 20th best overall player in the nation, and it goes without being said, every school wanted him. Recruiting process relatively simple. As you know, he stays at home and commits and signs with the little bro, Ohio State. Miller gets onto campus in the year 2011, and as a true freshman, he started 10 out of 12 ball games. This was a pretty rough year for Ohio State standards. They wound up going 6-7. It wasn't a good year, but as you can see right here, the only bad loss they had was to Miami, in which they lost 24-6. Outside of that, they was playing in one-score ball games. Lost to Michigan State by 3, Nebraska by 7, in which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they was leading something like 17 points before Miller got hurt in that ball game, and the backup quarterback came in, didn't do anything. They lost to Purdue by 3 points in overtime, lost to Penn State by 6, and Michigan by 6, and Florida by 7 in the bowl game. Moral of the story is this was I wouldn't say a rebuilding year for Ohio State, but it just was a rough season. Heading into the next season, 2012, Braxton Miller, he's your starting quarterback, and there's no looking back. You could say my man had a pretty good season. He didn't lose a game that year. Ohio State went 12-0. The one downside to this is Ohio State was facing a bowl ban, so it was almost like it was all for nothing. However, it doesn't matter how you spin it, 12-0 is 12-0. In that season, Miller completed 58% of his passes, had 2,000 passing yards with 15 tutties to only 6 INTs, so not bad. On the ground, though, and this is where he was really scaring defenses, he had 1,271 rushing yards with 13 touchdowns, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. That's with sacks included in there. It goes without being said, yes, passing numbers ain't too great, but what he did on the ground, it made up for it. In that undefeated season in 2012, he was named Big Ten Quarterback of the Year and also Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. In his junior year, 2013, Miller and the Buckeyes, they picked up right where they left off. In similar fashion to the year prior, they finished the regular season 12-0. Back-to-back 12-0 years, that's pretty dang good. I say that's pretty dang good. I'm kind of being sarcastic. That's great. Granted, you got to throw in there they was playing that sorry and sucky Big Ten schedule, but hey, a win's a win. They was beating the crap out of teams, and really, they didn't have too many close contests that entire year. That was up until the Big Ten Championship when they fared off against Michigan State. Miller struggled in this game, and he struggled mightily. He went 8 for 21, that is well below 50%, only had 100 passing yards with 1 touchdown. Although he struggled through the air on the ground, he was most certainly their best player, 21 carries, 142 yards with 2 touchdowns. But this box score right here, I think it paints the Braxton Miller experience perfectly to a T. And I'm curious to all my Ohio State fans, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about his time there? For me, it was, yeah, he's an exceptional athlete, he's a great ball player, but he's not a very accurate quarterback. Can he make the short passes? Yes. The mid-ranges? Yes. And he can even make long passes. It just wasn't consistent enough. He was good enough to lead Ohio State to a 12-0 undefeated regular season, but when you're talking about winning a championship, these numbers right here is not going to get the job done. Continuing along here, though, in that same season, obviously Ohio State doesn't make it to the championship game, and they face Clemson in a bowl game, in which they lose to Clemson and Taj Boyd. Speaking of Boyd, where's he at? We need to make a video on him. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see that. But Taj Boyd, he goes off against them, 31 for 40, 378 passing yards with 5 tutties to 2 INTs. Miller, on the other hand, he did his part, 16 for 24. That's decent. 230, 2 touchdowns to 2 INTs, QBR right at 78. Also had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but Clemson, they would win this shootout 40-35. And Ohio State, not exactly in a good position here. Back-to-back losses. That's the first time they've done that in a while. In the year of 2014, though, this is when Braxton Miller's life, it would change big time. He wound up having surgery to fix his torn labrum, and he missed the entire 2014 season, so he redshirted. Meanwhile, this is when JT Barrett, another, I think what some people would say, Ohio State star and legend of a quarterback, he took over the reins. And weirdly enough, that was that bizarre year for Ohio State where they lost early to Virginia Tech. I think in the first college football rankings, they were like 16th, 17th, or 15th, something like that. And they sneak into the playoff and upset number 1 Alabama and then beat number 2 Oregon 42-20 in the championship. And the reason I say that year was bizarre because number 1, you lost your real starter, Braxton Miller. Then, at the end of the year, JT Barrett got hurt. So Ohio State was playing with their third-string quarterback, Cardell Jones. Crazy, and I mean crazy year to say the least. Anyways, though, we are here to talk about Braxton Miller, so since he didn't play in 2014, not too much to be said, but if you are curious, yes, Ohio State did win the championship that year. And I remember how controversial this was. So Ohio State's coming off of that championship, right, in 2014. Well, you're heading into the offseason of 2015. And Braxton Miller, he's going to be healthy. That was your starter for 3 years. JT Barrett, he's going to be healthy. But you also had Cardell Jones just lead you to a championship. So the Ohio State coaching staff, they was in a pretty big pickle there because it's like, well, what do? We got 3 guys that are more than capable of leading us to a championship. And maybe Braxton Miller couldn't have done that, but I think you get the point I'm trying to get across here. He's shown you, hey, he can run off 12, 13 straight games, and he could lead you to a championship. Could he win it? Don't know, and I guess we never will know. Throughout this offseason, you got 3 guys battling it out, Miller, Jones, and Barrett. And then in July, Braxton Miller comes out with the news of, you know what? I'll let JT Barrett and Cardell Jones go at it. I'm going to switch my positions to wide receiver. Or actually, I think his label at the time was H-back. I'm not going to call him an H-back, though. For the sake of this video, we're just going to call him a wide receiver. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, he was coming off that shoulder surgery, and that was affecting his throwing motion. And number 2, you had people telling him, hey, buddy, if you want to go to the NFL, your best bet isn't at the quarterback position, but it's either running back or wide receiver. And I don't think a lot of people understand how much humility you have to have about yourself for you to be the starter for 3 straight years. This is your ball team. You're the leader of it. And you put the team first and say, you know what? I'm going to switch positions. I'm going to be a wide receiver. That'd be best for the team. That's the definition of being a team player. And he sacrificed a lot because when you switch from quarterback to wide receiver, think about it. How many times do a wide receiver touch the ball a game? At max, 10? So he's barely even going to be touching the ball, whereas when he was a quarterback, he's touching the ball every single play. I also think he knew, hey, if I do want to go to the NFL, they'll probably try to make me switch over to wide receiver, so I might as well do it now. And that probably played into it a little bit. I say a little bit, more so of a lot of bit. He switches over to wide receiver. He comes back in the season opener against Tech, Virginia Tech, whatever you like to call him. That's when he has that legendary spin move. You can feel differently. I've watched a ton of college football, but even to this day, that is the best spin move I've ever seen at any level. It was so smooth, so fluent. Everything about it. I could talk about that move alone for the next 15-20 minutes of this video. However, I think you get the point. And in that ball game, he did way more than just one move. He had 3 catches for 79 yards that led the team at 1 touchdown, and also he had 5 carries for 61 yards and 1 touchdown. So the man showed you, it doesn't matter where I play, I'm a baller and I'm going to ball out. That's what I do. Despite having a really good performance in game 1 of the year, the rest of the season was pretty disappointing. He finished the year with 26 catches for 341 yards with 3 touchdowns. On the ground, he only had 42 carries for 260 yards and 1 touchdown. And you see it compared to his other numbers. Look at the previous 3 years. The lowest amount of carries he had, and this was as a freshman in 2011, was 159. And here we are in 2015, he only had 42. Also got to take into account Ohio State had some really good other wide receivers at the time, and they weren't this pass-heavy offense. If they could run the ball and beat you, that's what they do. To put into perspective here, the highest amount of passing yards they ever had in a game in that 2015 year was 288. Actually, my bad, it was 291. I say that because I want you to understand it's not like they were slinging the ball all over the field and Braxton Miller wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. In general, nobody was getting a lot of opportunities. That's back when they had Jalen Marshall, Curtis Samuel, and there's one other guy. Who was the other guy I'm drawing? Oh, yeah, Michael Thomas. I wouldn't say Ohio State was loaded at the wide receiver position, but they had some other good guys. Here's even more perspective. That entire season, Thomas himself only had 2 games with over 100 receiving yards. I wouldn't dare say Braxton Miller had a bad season by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, the opportunities weren't there, and Ohio State wasn't slinging the ball all over the field. After the year's over, though, Braxton Miller, he is finally out of eligibility, and he declares for the NFL draft. Quick reminder, Miller has only played the wide receiver position for roughly a year at this point. There's good news and bad news to that. The bad news is he's unpolished. The good news is he's unpolished. I know what you're sitting there saying, Matt, you just repeated yourself, and I know I did, but hear me out. With him being quote-unquote unpolished, the good side of that is his potential's through the roof, and if you think he's good right now, he's just going to continue to get better. The bad side of him being quote-unquote unpolished is he's not going to be ready to go and as good as some of the other wide receivers in his draft class. With that being considered, I thought he got drafted pretty high, and he shouldn't be mad about it whatsoever. He got selected in the 3rd round with the 85th overall pick by the Houston Texans. Not bad if you got to ask me for a guy who's been playing wide receiver for 1 year. Officially, on May 26 in 2016, this is when the Texans signed Miller to a 4-year, $3.11 million contract. This also had a nice little signing bonus of $700,000. How about that? His first year in 2016, he had 15 catches for 99 yards and 1 touchdown, and in 2017, kind of a carbon copy pace, had 19 catches for 162 yards and 1 touchdown. He's 2 years into his career and he's not exactly doing a lot, and at least according to the organization, he wasn't improving. And it kind of sucks because the way I view this, and you may feel differently, but I never thought Braxton Miller got a fair and legit shot with the Houston Texans. It is what it is. I'm not saying he deserved a fair shot. I wasn't at the practices. I don't know if he was balling out or if he wasn't. But what I'm saying is you draft a guy with the 85th overall pick, you would think they'd get a little bit more of an opportunity. But hey, that's just me. Because it's not like you just got stuck with this guy in a trade. No, you drafted him because you saw something in him. And it's not like this was some 6th or 7th round pick where you signed him for $1 million. No, you gave him $3 million. So you should have had some incentive to give him a chance. After that 2017 season, in September of 2018, very early, Miller was waived by the Texans. Shortly after that, he was signed to the practice squad with the Philadelphia Eagles, and in 2019, he was waived by them. After being waived by the Eagles, the Cleveland Browns did pick him up, and only 10 days later after signing him, they cut him. He didn't give up yet, though. Right after the Browns cut him, in October of 2019, he signed to the Carolina Panthers practice squad. And in November, so not too long after they signed him, they released him. Braxton Miller got in what I like to label as the endless cycle of doom. We see it a lot with these videos, especially when these guys get cut and released by 1 or 2 teams. They just continue to bounce from team to team and practice squad to practice squad. And now that I think about it, I don't think I've seen a case where a guy has been cut by a team and just went from a practice squad to a practice squad and somehow, some way fought back in to the NFL. Maybe one day it'll happen, but I haven't seen it yet. And that was it for Braxton Miller. He never played another down in football after playing for the Houston Texans in 2017. Instead of pursuing football overseas or trying to play for the Canadian Football League, USFL, XFL, so on, etc., etc., he opened up or started, I guess you'd label it as an organization that hosts youth football camps and I think even some basketball camps occasionally. This organization goes by the name of Charging. In the year of 2020, this is when his company Charging started releasing some merchandise and clothing. And now they have AAU basketball teams, they have camps going on. He's building this thing up and it's cool to see. They also offer training. This is like a full-out sports academy. At least that's the vibes I'm getting from it. And yeah, I'm looking at it right here. This is from an article. It's stated officially in September 2023, so less than a year ago. This is when he officially opened up his sports academy. It's being stated that this sports academy is a school focused on developing students academically and athletically. Here's what Miller stated. It's always been a dream and passion of mine to come home and help the youth. It's my hope and expectation that every student succeeds and excels at Springfield Sports Academy. That's pretty interesting. And hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to clap it up to Braxton Miller. Clap it up. That's pretty cool, man. And all in all, he just seems like a great guy. Worked extremely hard, got hurt, things didn't go his way. He didn't throw a hissy fit. He didn't play victim mentality. He got up and he continued to work hard. And the thing I love about him the most, I know some people it's not going to be a big deal, but to me it is, he didn't get in any trouble off the field. If this doesn't inspire you or motivate you, I don't know what will. Let's answer the 2 questions we always ask at the end of these videos. Number 1, is Braxton Miller a winner or a loser? And I'm going to keep this short and simple. My man is a winner. Life tried to knock him down and he continued to get up, fight, work hard. And to me, I know how I feel about it. That's all winning is about. I'm not going to sit up here and say results don't matter because they do, but it's all about controlling the controllables. Question number 2 is, why didn't things work out in the NFL? This question is a little harder to answer because there's a lot of uncertainties and a lot of things we don't know. For starters, I think we got to talk about this. The NFL is all about opportunity. It's the reason Eli Manning didn't sign with the Chargers. It really depends on what organization you go to, and a lot of times if you go to a great organization, that could be the make or break for your career, whereas if you go to a terrible one, you're just going to be put in a position to fail. It's the same thing with Kobe Bryant. Was it the Sixers? No. I think it was the Hornets because they told him they was going to draft him, and Kobe said, no, don't draft me because I'm not going to sign with you. I think what hurt Miller is he didn't get a great shot in the NFL, and it also didn't help him that he just switched over to wide receiver. Maybe if he would have switched over to wide receiver in year 2 or 3 at Ohio State, he would have got drafted higher and been in a better spot. At the end of the day, though, I don't think Miller is too upset with how things turned out. He got a couple $1 million playing in the NFL, started his own company, has his own sports academy. Things are going great for him. To Braxton Miller, if you were somehow, someway seeing this video, my brother, I'm wishing you the best of luck, and I hope you continue to see a lot of success in your career and life moving forward. There's many more things I could say. We'll end it off here. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below about that Roman.